Hello, everyone. This is Kim Jacobs, and I am so excited to have each and every one of you on with me today. Listen, we have a great show lined up for you here on the Kim Jacobs Show, and I am so excited because I don't actually think that I've interviewed anyone that has stood up at this level against wrong to the point where they're able to formally tell their story. And so I'm quite excited to have my guest on today. And I encourage you to take some notes, listen to this pioneer, this woman that's going to be sharing some nuggets with you today on how right is right. And we're going to go into the story right away. Today, my guest is Dawn Westmoreland. And Dawn, actually, I'm not even going to give her a full introduction right now. Let me just first of all welcome Dawn Westmoreland. How are you, Dawn?
Hi, Kim. It's really pleasant to be with you this morning. I'm doing great.
I'm so glad to have you on. And I know that all of my listeners are going to just truly enjoy getting the opportunity to learn more about you today. I'm too intrigued to just delve more into your story. And I will give a brief intro right now. Dawn Westmoreland believes that employees and employers should be empowered to work in a safe and respectful work environment. I will tell you that she stood up against the second largest federal agency in the United States for bullying for being a whistleblower. I'm not going to go into every detail because then it'll take the thunder from her story, but I will allow her to just share with us a little bit more about her as we go into her story. How did you get into the career field of workplace and bullying and discrimination? Let's start there, Dawn.
Well, I never saw it coming, but back in 2012, and, the economy had crashed. I was doing a different career field. I'd already retired from the Air Force. And so I went to work for the Department of Veteran Affairs in Asheville, North Carolina, where I live. And there's two veteran affairs agencies in Asheville. One's in West Asheville, and that's when I was working there. And one of the first things that I noticed, there were about 500 employees, and here I have this, at the time, 22 years of human resources experience, background working in it, and I'm looking around and I see like 5 black employees and about 500, white employees, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, what's going on here? Because I know employment information and HR policies and hiring, and then I caught on really quick that there was not only racial discrimination going on, but also nepotism, which is not a common word, but it's hiring family and friends. And that's how it started. Is I spoke up about it, and as a whistleblower, someone who speaks up about injustice and such, I got really bullied and harassed for about a year and a half. That's how it started, Kim.
Oh, wow. So now you decided, Dawn, that enough is enough. So you're going to actually just be courteous and say, I don't really think this is right, and kind of put your 2 cents in there, correct?
Right. I addressed it with management, and I said, I see what's going on. I spent 20 years in the Air Force with a whole bunch of men, learned to be, assertive, learned about leadership, discipline, and all that. And I just said, hey, this is wrong. This is illegal. That's called prohibited personnel practices in the government when, certain people are trained, for promotions and others are not, or there's favoritism where family and friends are hiring, their buddies or their family members. And there was a lot of that going on, and I'm no nonsense. So management basically ignored me, and I spoke up. I reached out to the Office of Special Counsel in Washington, D.C., and told them about the prohibited personnel practices. They did nothing, and then I got retaliation from speaking out, and even though I don't look like it, I'm a disabled veteran, and I was denied a reasonable accommodation for my disabilities to work, and that opened up, and I did all the research myself, Kim. I'm pretty much a nerd, I like doing research.
I'm looking at your picture. I'm looking at your picture, and you really do look no nonsense, but you also look like you know what you're talking about, which is good. So it's like, don't play with Dawn,
Yeah, I mean, I know it's kind of funny, I went in the Air Force to get education and travel, and I earned 4 degrees. So, I'm really good at research. So I did most of my own research, and I looked up. I'm like, hey, they're committing disability discrimination against me and retaliation. And so I applied to the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, wrote up most of my own information, and it got really rough. I put on administrative leave for 100 days. Got charged AWOL, which is absent without leave, and about 14 different retaliation things happened. Probably the best thing that happened, ended up in the mental health ward for a few days because after a year of it, I was exhausted.
Right.
No matter how tough you are, we all have a breaking point.
Yes. Yes, we do, Dawn. And yours, unfortunately, came because of you trying to simply just make something better for other people. So you were actually putting other people and their needs before your own, because it wasn't that you were even being discriminated against, right? You were just observing what was happening to other people and wanted to take a stand against it, correct?
Yeah. I was applying for, promotion opportunities, and I was being denied, but that's after I became a whistleblower. I knew they weren't going to hire me, but I kept applying because I also knew that I could use that as evidence. And anyway, when I ended up in the mental health board, it was voluntarily. I wasn't suicidal, but I was extremely tired, stressed, losing weight, exhausted, and that's where I had my greatest, as I say, epiphany, and I realized, oh my gosh, you're the biggest bully, Dawn. Feeling like a victim.
Right.
And then they ended up doing the interdisciplinary board and asked me what was my action plan when I said, hey, it's time to release me. I just didn't like what I had become at that time, and I guess I needed a break.
And so
I got out of the mental health ward, and I still had a year ahead of me.
Right.
And so, it was a job where I could work at home, and the staff would not let me work at home. They let other people. They were doing everything to cut me out, break me, to get me to quit, and I just held on. And so they wouldn't let me work at home. I wasn't about to go work back in the hostile work environment.
Of course not.
So my paycheck got cut off, because I wouldn't go back against the lawyer's advice, against the doctor's advice.
So it was just a very methodical. It was very methodical strategy to get you removed from your job.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. There are a lot of details, that I'm going to leave out. We all know what harassment is in the workplace.
Oh yeah.
Seen it, heard it. So they did everything to try to break me, and I spent 20 years in the Air Force, grew up with 7 brothers and stepbrothers, and I just hung in there. But, I had lows, at times where I was on my knees. And I had a year out, before the formal hearing. That's what it's called, for the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. Is actually a traveling judge, administrative judge out of Charlotte, this area, and I'm in Asheville, North Carolina. And so we ended up settling 2 days because I brought an attorney in at the end, to be the voice. And I ended up settling without a gag order or a non-disclosure agreement that I could talk about my story.
Wow. That's incredible.
Basically did everything without a witness and all on documentation. And then everybody started coming forward like, how'd you do that, Dawn? And I said, well, I documented everything, but most people don't know how to document properly when they're being harassed in the workplace, and I learned as I went.
Well, so now the people that you were actually whistleblowing on behalf of, did they ever know that you were actually their advocate at this level? Did they find out, or did you tell them?
Well, there were about 5 Black employees, and one of them was my coworker. And the funny thing is, and she's always given me permission to talk about her story. She had a background in the Equal Employment Opportunity, Commission, and I find out, she has this background, and she goes off and she also files charges and, and does her thing, and I become best friends with her. Her name is Angela, and together, we talked about what was going on, and, I'm the big picture person, she's the detail person, and we talked about what areas we were going to go after, and, we independently, become whistleblowers and spoke out.
Well, first of all, let me, you know what?
Good.
I have to on my show for a second, since I don't have a live studio audience, I'm going to put in a little applause. I'm so grateful that you spoke out, because that takes a champion. You are, in my book, you're a warrior. You're someone, people go back and look at historical figures that have changed the course of history. And in my opinion, someone like you, Don Westmoreland, that sees wrong and injustice and stands up for it, knowing, that the outcome is not necessarily going to be favorable for your life, is to be commended. And I'm grateful that you're taking the time today on the Kim Jacobs Show to share your story and to share Angela's story. And just the fact that you all stood up against wrong, and where ultimately now you are helping other people. And how is that working for you? I know that you go and you help other people that are being harassed. How does that look?
Well, it opened doors, and I pay attention to the doors that open. So, Concerned Veterans of America, they're a veteran group, a nonprofit, found out about me, and they sent me up about a year later up to Washington, D.C., and we end up talking to about 25, 30 congressmen. And Senator McCain was, alive at that time, and, he's a veteran. And I ended up talking to Senator Bernie Sanders and a bunch of other senators. And the goal was, to talk about protecting whistleblowers, and they also had some other objectives about veterans. And then, I decided, just had this strong gut feeling, a few years ago, I went out to Phoenix to hear Erin Brockovich talk, and I just got the attention, Kim. I'm like, I'm gonna talk to her. I'm gonna get to know her, and I'm gonna get her to endorse my work. And sure enough, you know how it is, the power of intention. And so I ended up meeting her, and I stood up during the conference, and I said, how do I get somebody like you at your level to support me? And I didn't know I was being recorded. So I had to get a little video. And I met Erin Brockovich. I interviewed her. She's on my podcast, Empowered Whistleblower. We're talking about how, everyday people can be superheroes. It's called stick-to-itness. And, she also had military children. She has 3 children. So I still stay in contact, there. And, I helped another VA whistleblower who actually got a lot of national attention. And, all the VA whistleblowers found out about me.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, okay, people, hold on now. I don't have, bodyguards. And anyway, for about 5 years, I did assist them. And when I say assist them, I taught them how to stand up for themselves. And, having a background in HR was a big plus for me because, employment attorneys, their first year or so, when they're getting their education, their degrees, is HR, So, I've been in HR now 29 years. I have a master's in HR and management. So I've been able to tell people what to look out for, how to protect themselves. And nowadays, right now, I have kind of put a stop to, working for people for a couple months because I'm wrapping up writing, a memoir and a workbook about bullying. And this will be my second and third book, and I've contributed to other books.
Wow, I am impressed. I'm thoroughly impressed. And when you talk about bullying, even though I know this is not about workplace bullying, but I do want to let you know that my son Gabriel Michael Jacobs, named after 2 angels, was here on this earth with us. Actually, the coroner said that he would not be able to and should not have been able to live beyond my womb. But he did live for 12 years, and we had no clue that he had a heart defect. But the thing that he was known for on this earth at 5'10", he was 5'10", wearing a 13 grown man's shoe, and he was a giant in the land. But at school, and I didn't even know this until after he passed, at school, he was known as Guardian Gabe. And I was like, well, why did everybody call him Guardian Gabe? It was because he was the anti-bullying mediator. And he would protect a lot of petite, it was hundreds of petite Caucasian young girls coming up to me. They were like, he was my guardian angel. And I was like, why do people keep saying this? They said he would actually, anybody that would bully anybody at school, these like petite little young girls, black or white, didn't matter. He would actually serve as a mediator to be able to help them become friends. So a lot of the bullies and the people that were being bullied are now friends because of my son Gabriel. And so we started Gabe's Heart Foundation. And so as you spread awareness about anti-bullying, please always keep Gabe's Heart Foundation in the mix some kind of way, because I'd love for him to be able to let his legacy live on nationwide for his anti-bullying initiatives as well.
Well, I need to interview you on my podcast because I also talk about children's issues around bullying. So there you go. On my podcast.
See, now on my interview with you, I was not trying to get an interview on your show. I didn't know that was what you were going to say. I was just telling you in alignment. Well, I was just telling you that in alignment with what you're doing, even young people at a tender age of 12 years old have that in their heart to be able to say, I'm taking a stand against this, even in my school. So now let me ask you, Dawn, oh, thank you. What kind of people are typically harassed in the workplace? Because I know you would know from an HR perspective.
Yeah, all kinds of studies are done. And, sometimes you think it's the weak, the real quiet person. But there's been many studies done and research on the types of people that get bullied. And a lot of times, I'll first to say, most whistleblowers get bullied in the workplace. I've met many whistleblowers over the past 6 years, and I don't care how tough they are, because everybody has a breaking point. And when somebody cuts your paycheck off and you lose everything, your home, everything, that's going to affect you very badly. But actually, a lot of times it's the overachiever, it's the person who wants to get along with others, it's the team player. Women get bullied a little bit more than men. But men also get bullied. And I know when I first started doing this kind of work, I thought, well, my niche is going to be with women. And boy, I had all these men calling. Some of them were in the Marines, had been in the Marines, and they're working for the government, and they're about to lose their job, because they spoke up about something and then they got targeted. But yeah, it's usually the kind, compassionate person that wants to get along with other people. And, bullies, sometimes they've been, bullied themselves. They have, baggage. They have history. They've had bad mentors in their life, or some of them are just plain narcissistic or psychopath, personalities.
Right.
But that's the kind of people that get bullied up. It's pretty amazing.
And how can people overall find that empowerment? Like, you literally are the epitome of empowerment when it comes to being harassed in the workplace. Even though you weren't initially harassed, you were helping other people, which then everything turned into your direction, because here you go trying to stand up for someone else. How dare you? How dare you care about other people? How dare you say this is wrong on behalf of someone else? So now, how can people be as empowered as you are if they're experiencing workplace bullying?
Well, and I also talk about personal power, confidence and things like that. I write a weekly column for the Good Men Project. They've been around for a while, and it's men and women, so, can join this, and I'm a weekly columnist. So I talk, I write articles, I do my podcast, Empowered Whistleblower, through Spreaker. I do go out and I speak. I'm writing the book. My book is actually going to share how I did it, because I could tell people all day long, document, but most people don't know how to document and know how to, they don't know the different programs that are out there that can help people. And, it's just a methodical way to help people. And the thing is, I'm the last person, Kim, that you would think, if you knew my very, very background, back to being a child, I was shy, timid, sexually abused, as a child for over 7 years. I was harassed in the military. When I went in 85, there were 11% women, and got out in 05, it was 22% women. And, going through these different experiences helped me to become a strong, resilient person, because, it's all a matter of perspective,
Yeah.
You get to choose, see the silver lining, if you had a real narcissistic, nasty person in your life, if you learn something from it, maybe to have boundaries, to stand up for yourself, to cut them out of your life, to learn, the different from the experiences, how to be a better person or how to deal with it. So I think that all these experiences happened. I know they did.
Yes, big time.
Happened to, develop me, and I chose them to develop me because I was the kind of kid that I was 5'10" and 15, and that's my height. And I was the one that walked around, looking at the ground because, I'd been sexually abused as a child for over 7 years, and I had no confidence, and it took all these experiences, and I chose to grow.
Wow. Now, see, when you take it back to your childhood, Dawn, a big part of my show, the Kim Jacobs Show, is allowing people the opportunity to share their backstories so that people know what brought them to where they ultimately are today. And so you're saying that when you were sexually abused and it was going on for so long, it triggered you to want to be the person that helps with against bullying. Is that what you're saying?
It was a part of the journey. I would definitely say that. I mean, looking back at my history, if I was another person, I'd be like, wow, how did she get out of that?
Right.
Because, I just became an overachiever because of insecurity until I grew into the confidence.
Now, did any of your family know that you were experiencing sexual abuse?
No.
No. Okay.
I hid it.
Okay.
I was ashamed, like most men and women are ashamed.
Okay. Well, and I mean, obviously, every person deals with it differently, and there's no right or wrong way because as a child, who has that wherewithal to decide what is the right thing to do in this situation,
Mm-hmm.
And so,
yeah, and I was threatened. I think a lot of people are, if they tell. I was threatened.
Okay. Well, I'm really grateful that you came out of that and that you became the woman that you are today. And that 5'10" at 15 years old is now able to hold her head up very high and represent others that are being defeated in life. So one thing that I would love for people to know, because you have been with HR and 29 years of experience, you're a life coach. How do people get in touch with you, Dawn, if they want to stay connected with you?
My website is workplacebullyingsupport.com. You can go to the contact there and email me there, or consult with Dawn, my first name, DAWN, @gmail.com.
Okay, let's say that again. Let's say that again right quick. Workplacebullyingsupport.com.
Support.com.
Okay, workplacebullyingsupport.com. Or you can also reach out to her at dawn@gmail.com. And how else, Dawn? What other ways?
Oh, not Dawn. Consult with Dawn. Consult, like you're consulting. Consult with Dawn @gmail.com.
Okay, and do they spell out with WITH?
No, just consult with Dawn @gmail.com. I have a bunch of emails, but that's the shortest one.
Okay, so consult with Dawn @gmail.com, or go to workplacebullyingsupport.com and go to the contact section. You can go to the contact section and you'll be able to get in touch with Dawn. How can they tune into your podcast, Dawn?
Well, somebody goes to Spreaker and they just put in the Empowered Whistleblower podcast. I started this podcast about a year and a half ago, and I have about 50 different podcasts out. I had a little break. My mom went through breast cancer for a year, and I also ended up in a car accident, but I'm back on force, doing more podcasts. It's about children and, adults around bullying and workplace bullying and childhood bullying.
Okay. And do you have children yourself, Dawn?
No, but I have neighbors that think they are my children.
And don't you love that when you're like a mother figure to everyone in the neighborhood? It's like, just come on. Everybody just come on over here. I'll take care of you. So you're a mother in your own right, right?
Oh, yeah. So little kids that are always over here all the time.
That's so
and
sweet.
They're precious, and they keep me feeling young.
Well, I can tell you what. I would actually send my children. Now, I don't send my children anywhere like talking about it, but I would be honored to send them to Don Westmoreland's house. You know why? Because I believe with my whole heart that you would protect them. That's for sure.
Oh, that's so sweet. And do I have a second to share something?
You have more than a second. Share whatever you would like. This is about you today, so please share, share, share.
When you talked about the archangels, I got chills, Kim, because during my hardest times, I would wake up and see angels in my bedroom. You know, I would wake up and have visions, and I would see angels, and I would blink my eyes thinking, no, you're dreaming, and I'd open it up, and the angels would still be there. And that was during the hardest times of my life, and I know we're never, ever alone, that even if we feel we're alone through whatever hardship, that we are never alone. We're always surrounded by angels and divinity.
Yeah. You know what? I wasn't going to cry on my own show today, but that is such a, you know what, Dawn, why would you take me there? You know what?
I know. I thought people are going to think I'm nuts.
No.
You know?
That
I
is
believe in transparency and being real.
Yeah, on this show you can definitely do that, and I believe that. Yeah, I 100% believe, even though we didn't know at the time why we were naming, we knew Gabriel and Michael for the angels, but we didn't realize that Gabe was really going to be an angelic being walking on this earth and doing the good works that he was doing. So, yeah, I do believe that as well, and I believe that we're encompassed about with a great cloud of witnesses, and I know in my case, Gabe is one of my witnesses. Gabriel Michael Jacobs is one of my witnesses. So, and I'm sure you have quite a few witnesses cheering you on to victory as well. Okay, so Dawn, let me ask, I'm trying to think of, like, there's always that moment that you feel like, wow, this was worth it. This right here, this one moment in time made everything worth it that I stood up for. What was that kind of moment in time for you, Dawn?
Well, I've seen the results. You know, it's not always instantaneous because, you know, cases can take a while. I can't, you know, perform law, but I do have the background to help people, and I, you know, send people to attorneys and the mental health professionals. But when I see somebody on national TV, high profile, and I was the one that helped them, and when I find out that the place where Angela and I used to work at before, you know, the Veteran Affairs in West Asheville, they call it the MACPAC, when I found out that about 20 Black personnel were hired in one day, you know, and then you know, and both of us, Angela and I, both had our own, you know, independent victory, and we're helping people. The fact that, you know, I know quite a few people that I've helped teach them how to document properly so they have a stronger case. You know, I tell them, you know, the different programs, and to see somebody that's successful, that gets through, or even leaves a toxic job where nothing's going to not change. I mean, it's very, very gratifying. And, you know, I was in the Christian Science Monitor magazine because of, you know, my actions. So, you know, I'm a pretty humble person. I mean, I just get excited when, you know, I can teach people how to be empowered on their own feet. You know, just teach them.
I love it. I love it.
Let it go.
I love it. I love it. I love it, Dawn. To see 20 people in your own lifetime. That's like, you know, you have all of these people that a lot of things happen after they've passed on, and now they're only able to witness as a cloud of witnesses. But to see it during your lifetime, Veteran Affairs in Asheville actually hiring 20 African American employees while you're still here able to add it to your story. And that's just incredible. That's like to be commended, you and Angela and everyone associated with this whole movement of doing right and standing against workplace bullying. I commend you and I'm grateful for you. And I'm so honored. What made you be on the Kim Jacobs show too? Tell everybody. Tell everybody.
Oh, I think you and I connected on LinkedIn and you mentioned your show. And I was reading your profile. I'm like, oh, this is a really strong woman who's out there doing great things. I'm like, oh, I'd be honored to be on her show.
Aw. Well, I'm so glad that you are on today as my guest. And listen, everyone that is out here, make sure you reach out. Just show your sincere love and appreciation for what Dawn has done. Put some comments on the podcast. Let people know that you support and you stand behind what they're attempting to do in life, and not just attempting, but doing it. It's one thing to try something. I tell people all the time, you can try and stand up or you can try to sit down. You're going to either do one or the other. You're not going to be able to try to sit down. It's like, who cares about trying? Dawn actually did. She did it. And I am just so grateful that you chose to be on the Kim Jacobs Show today. So thank you for being my guest. And do you have any other things that you want everyone out there listening to walk away with? Any other point?
Yeah, I think the biggest takeaway, for me, from my journey, my experience, because now I'm 55 years old, I lost my home, I lost my livelihood, and I had to rebuild everything before, I got my settlement. And it's that the thing is that we don't have to be victims. We're going to have hard times in our lives. Is try to look at what's the experience out of this that can help me become better, to be more resilient, more stronger. What's the takeaway? Because we don't have to be victims. And, I believe in more than just surviving, but I believe in thriving.
I love it. And that's actually the title of today's show. So that's good. How to do more than survive, but to thrive, and you sharing your story today. So I'm really glad this will be available, and you can definitely share it with any of your listeners as well, rebroadcast it, whatever you'd like to do. And I am again very humbled and grateful to have you on today, Dawn, and I'd like to give you a great big round of applause. I love having you on my show today. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And listen, thank you all for tuning in, because without you as listeners, then the show wouldn't be the show, right? So thank you for tuning into the Kim Jacobs Show today. And I encourage you to spread the news. Let everybody know that we are on the air and that they can too share their stories as well. If you're interested in sharing your story or being a guest on the Kim Jacobs Show, you can reach out to Kim@thebalancedoctor.tv or Cassandra@thebalancedoctor.tv, and we'd be honored to put your story out on the air. Listen, if you have not joined the Mother Dreamer movement, that's a group of mothers that, even those that are physical mothers and those that are mothers just birthing a dream, make sure you go to motherdreamer.com/join. We'd love to have you be a part of the movement, where we're getting an opportunity to work with women from all walks of life that have goals and dreams. They're dusting them off of the cabinet. They're saying, look, I can raise children and have my dreams come true. Make sure that you join the Mother Dreamer movement today. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Dawn, for being my guest. And I
my pleasure. Really enjoyed it, Kim.
Thank you so much for being my guest today. And thank you all for tuning in. And until next time, make sure that you know that I am so excited to be able to serve each and every one of you. Have a great day.